Yeah, so I took your 2 classes. I took constructive figure drawing and then the Ecoche class. I took the drawing class first from you, and I'm trying to remember how I like heard about it. I think it was just through like First City, the art center. And I remember being like, wow, I don't know if there has been an artist in Pensacola that studied at an academy like Josh has. Like that was really like exciting to me. And that was something that I didn't think I would get to experience, like living in the small town that I was living in. It was also the first time I had ever like drawn live from a model. And I had no like anatomy instruction up until that point. It had been like literally drawing from drawings in a book. So like I was copying like someone else's drawing, not even like photos of like the figure, which was like even harder to like learn from. So yeah, I think like you presenting this framework with which to draw was like really exciting and like liberating, because it helped like push past all the like presenting problems that I would have with like drawing correctly and like why does this not look proportionate. Yeah, just being able to feel confident in that helped me then just be able to focus on like the exciting part, like the intuition and my own personal style and creativity. And yeah, I feel like you did a really good job of presenting this information that is objective while still like, yeah, each artist in the class had like their very own style, and you were never like trying to push your own onto them, you know. And I felt that a lot. And I was also like, it was nice not being intimidated. Like the volume of information was a lot, but it was totally like approachable. And it was also very hands-on. It wasn't just like, I'm going to lecture about proportions for 2 hours and then draw for a little bit. It was like a perfect blend of both. And yeah, I was trying to think of like what I took away from like the drawing class, besides honestly like getting some confidence of like, oh wow, this is something that I really enjoy and I should do more of, or I'm capable of. And I feel like the way you talked about like lines portraying like light and shadow really like stood out to me. I like think about that a lot when I draw. Like I had this tendency to really just want to do like a contour drawing, like perfect outline, like every line around the whole body, almost like a doll. It was like the exact same, like I'm cutting it out with scissors. And you just saying like, you know, you can do like lighter lines and then darker lines when the light is like harsher. I was like, oh, and then my work like immediately looked way more like believable. And that was like exciting, because I don't often like get that kind of moment of like, it wasn't even like criticism, just like a teaching moment and being like, wow, this is making my work stronger. And then
Those
like
drawings are very strong. I hadn't
yeah.
seen them in a while. They're good.
I'm glad. I was like, oh, I'm glad he likes them, because I hadn't looked at them. I don't even know where the originals are. I was like, thank God I have the pictures, because I'm sad. I'm sure they're somewhere, but I think you told me to make my lines like straighter. Like I had this tendency to like, if I'm drawing a shoulder, I just wanted to draw a big circle, like a big round curved line. And you like saying do like straight lines connecting made my work instantly way more tighter and stronger. And I was like, whoa, this is so exciting, you know?
Nice.
Yeah. And I didn't feel like discouraged or like, oh, he just wants me to draw like him. It was like, no, this is my art and it's getting better. And it's like really exciting, you know?
Well, you remember a lot.
Yeah,
That's
I took a little bit of time today and I thought about it, because I was like, I know I learned a lot, and I feel like it does influence me now. I just don't like think about it all the time. And yeah, the torso class, I took it because you were teaching it. I wasn't necessarily super interested in sculpting the human torso. I was like, we're gonna do this because I know I'm gonna learn something, even though like I probably wouldn't pick that to sculpt, because I was also new to that like type of art. And it just was like, I thought it was so crazy that you can focus. I know the torso is like a huge, you've done like the forearm and like really specific things. I know it's a lot more general, but it was really cool. Yeah,
That was an
getting,
intense class.
I know it
Sorry.
really was. It was like such a small class too. It was so fun. Yeah, I thought it was neat that like sculpture was also not something that I was very familiar with. Like I had only done like abstract kind of sculpting with no real like training or direction. So yeah, sculpting, I think it was just amazed. Like I really grew to appreciate like the process. Like maybe looking at a sculpted torso or whatever before, I would have just like admired it. But then seeing that like, even if it was going to get covered up later, like laid in each muscle, that I wouldn't have approached it that way. If it was just me, I would have been like, oh, if this is the hip, I'm going to put this giant block of clay here because it comes out this far, you know?
So we
Yeah.
sculpted the pelvis, the spine, the ribs, and the skull in proportion, and then we built the muscles from the inside out in proportion. In
Yeah.
6 weeks, right? That was a 6 week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
lot.
it was a lot.
Do you remember any of the names of the muscles, or is it all
Oh my,
gone?
I'm like, I still have my handouts, but I really don't. I really don't. I referenced the like proportion page before, but not
Really?
the
You still read the workbook?
No, yeah, I do.
Really?
I still have the
Great.
book. I don't know. I think I borrowed the like anatomy book, but the handouts I still have of like, yeah, the proportions. Cause every now and then I get stumped on something and yeah, it helps. I think like taking your classes opened me up to this like type of art that is skill based and it's really exciting. And I think even seeing like your work progress from like being very skill based to like you do a lot of very unique specific things that I don't think a lot of other artists are doing. That's been encouraging that like I can seek out maybe like non-traditional forms of education, like taking different classes from artists that I respect, and like picking specifically like what I want to learn versus like, yeah, I just felt like the few like college courses that I did take I didn't like come out of it with a sense of like how I needed to grow as an artist or like what would make me better. Like I'm sure I got a little bit better just from the fact of like doing art and like making different projects, but like the workshops that I've taken from like you and other artists, I always come away with like actual concrete tools that I can use to create the art that I like envision creating. I think like my hope is that I can continue to work one-on-one with artists I respect and like kind of forge my own path in the art world and like be okay with however I learn what I need to learn, you know, even if it's not like the direct route.